What's up, guys? It is after Christmas, and I really do hope that all of my viewers out there had a very, very, very beautiful Christmas with all their family and friends, and lots of delicious food to eat. I know I did. I had a lot of fun with my family. I had some cousin coming in from the military, and two other family members and their boyfriend coming in from my hometown in Brooklyn. So it was a really good Christmas for me. Like I said, I was able to be off the whole night. I didn't have to worry about going to work. So that made it even better. So once again, like I said, I hope everybody had a very beautiful Christmas, and I hope they'll have a happy New Year in the coming days. Um, I'm gonna start off with a story. I know I said before I was gonna start off with the following stories from the book, but I wanted to do something a little special because of I recently said in my last post that if there's anybody out there who, any of my listeners, any of my viewers out there, from whatever state they are viewing me from, if they have any cases that kind of are that are related to the 411 cases, to email me information on that. And one of my viewers, Melissa Morgan, I'm sorry, Elizabeth Morgan, she sent me a case about a young 2-year-old boy. And I just want to say thank you for sending me this information. So this is what I'm gonna be posting today. It is about a young 2-year-old boy named Kyle David Janson. He went missing on 12/20/1991 in Good Thunder, Minnesota. He was born on 8/17/1989. He was the age of 2, which is a key point in this case. Is about 30. About his height was like 3'3". He was like 55 pounds. Okay, now start off with Kyle was last seen inside his family's Good Thunder, Minnesota apartment. Now, the crazy part was both parents thought that he was with the other one. I don't know how that happens, but I guess it does. If you have one child or whatever, especially if they disappear or they wander off. Apparently, he did wander off near the Maple River. Now, searchers later found Kyle's mittens and a thread from his jeans and some boot tracks leading out onto the ice of the river. Towards a channel of open water in the middle. Now, that part right there reminded me of a case that I read a couple of posts ago about. His name was I just had it. Stephen S. Kubacki. Same thing with him. Except he was coming from his college campus, I believe, and he disappeared. And they followed the footprints out onto the lake. That he supposedly walked on. It was a frozen lake, and they followed the footprints out into the middle of the lake where they just vanished, like as if something picked them up right at that point. And the same thing with this one. They followed some footprints out onto the river, and they just stopped because there was open water at that point. I guess that's where the ice broke, or it hadn't completely frozen in that area. So there's another key point where this same thing happened with this other guy, but he was a grown man, of course. Now let's see what we got here. Oh yeah, okay. Now the searchers, they later found Kyle's mittens. Oh, okay, I read that first. Okay, yeah. Okay, now the tracks disappeared. Then at that point, and it's believed that Kyle fell in the water. He fell in the water and drowned, which is what they always believe, just because they think that nothing else could have happened, like he could have been abducted by aliens or whatever the case may be. Now, the river was about 4 to 5 feet deep, in December of 1991. His body was never recovered, but a memorial service for him was held 3 months after his disappearance. Now, in October of 2003, a man who was inspired by a television crime show went looking for, near the river, which was at unusually low levels. He was trying to find some remains of Kyle. Now, he found what appeared to be a small child's femur and turned it into the authorities. The discovery of the bone resulted in a fresh search of the area. Now, a child's winter boot that matched Kyle's and a piece of material believed to be from the child's snowsuit was found also. Now, the femur, it turned out to be the femur of an animal. It was, it was an animal bone. Nevertheless, the investigators still hope to recover Kyle's remains. And that's pretty much all they have on that story. Like I said, this happened back in 1991, so this is a pretty old case. But yeah, like I said, it was kind of, weird how pretty much the same thing that happened to Stephen S. Kubacki, it happened to this little boy. I mean, like I said, he was 2 years old. And he just wandered off. But my problem is, how is it that a young boy wanders off like that and just seemingly just walks away and ends up in the middle of a river, a frozen river at that? I mean, it's a possibility that he could have drowned and his body got carried away by the current from the river, or because I'm pretty sure that they searched the river, they never found his body. So that's a crazy part in a lot of these cases where people they end up being near water and they just vanish without a trace. I mean, they found some of his belongings, but they never found the body. So I'm be like, okay, you find the stuff that he was wearing, but you don't find the body. So where is he? Is he dead? Is he somewhere else? I mean, it's like I said before in a lot of these cases with parents, it's always easy for them to believe that somebody, a human, a person, kidnapped their child or he was abducted. But in a lot of these cases, if it's too weird for you to realize, if the evidence or the case alone is just too weird for you to even think that it was a human that took that child, I would never be thinking in that area, because you hardly ever find any evidence on a person that was kidnapped or abducted where there's strange evidence in the profile. I never see that. I've heard of a lot of stories about children being kidnapped or abducted, and they never have any weird abnormalities in the case where they have these weird, like I said, evidence that surrounds the death of the child or the fact that they were taken. It's just the fact that they were taken, and sooner or later they're found either dead in a field somewhere or whatever the case may be. But it's never any cases that you hear about on the news. It's never anything weird. Now, the case about Bo Solomon, that's a weird case, because all of the evidence that surrounds his case, it matches all of the criteria in all of the cases that David Paulides talks about in his books. All of it, and it just runs down the line. And yeah, okay, they said that they did find his killer, which was a homeless man that lives under a bridge. But if you ask me, the way I'm looking at it, the only reason why they said that is because the case is so weird and it's so, close to what David Paulides talks about. They probably cooked up a suspect and framed him just so they wouldn't have to worry about telling this stuff to the family members. I mean, it could be true, but I don't know. It's just, to me, a lot of the cases, a lot of the parts in that case is just very familiar when it comes to the cases dealing with, the 411 case. But anyway, that's all I really got on that story. There wasn't too much information on his case, on Kyle's case. So that's it for that. But just like I always say before, I got more to read, and I'm going to read the stories of the people that I mentioned in my last post. Now, there are times that I do jump around in the case. It just depends on who I may have heard about the most, you know, from on Coast to Coast AM. Um, so there is a lot of other cases in this book that I like. There was one about a young man named Joshua Snell. He talked about on this radio show called Where Did the Road Go? I heard about it a couple of nights ago. I mean, I've been heard that broadcast before, but I never paid attention to the names because I didn't have the book yet. So now that I have the book, I can pay attention to a lot of the names that I heard them mention, because he normally mentions the cases that are the weirdest cases out of all of the cases in the book. Where none of it makes any sense whatsoever, where they could be in a crowded club or bar somewhere, yet nobody in that club seems to know that they left the club. They never saw them, they lost track of the person, and they're in a huge crowd. Somebody has to have seen them, but on the CCTV cameras, it shows him in the club, but it never shows him leaving the club. It's like he'd be out of range, and then he just vanishes. It's weird, and it's almost like I said before, it's almost like he's being cloaked to where nobody around here can see him leave. They know that he's at the party. It shows that he's at the party, but to the eyes of everyone else around him, nobody can see him. It's like they do that on purpose, just so they have a good enough reason to take him. And he's never been found. Never. This is all this stuff is just crazy and it's unexplainable. And I think that the unexplainable is going to be, sooner or later, is going to be the facts in all of these cases. I know David Paulides deals with a lot of facts, and he builds them up and puts them out there. And that's what he's supposed to do. He's a retired 20-year veteran cop, so that's his profession. That's what he did. But even he knows that there's a lot of weirdness that comes along with these cases. And if you are an advocate in the paranormal or the unexplainable, the unknown, folklore, whatever the case may be, it's going to make you think like that. And I'm one of those people. So if you listen to my posts in the past, you know that I have said a lot of these things. The theories that I have go way beyond normal thinking, way beyond people who think logically. There is no logic in any of these cases. To me, personally, this is my personal opinion. So I think that there is something going on that goes way beyond, what a human can do. And if it is a human, it's not a human from this earth or this plane. It's somebody from another dimension somewhere who has these abilities to kill people without touching them. Or it could be a creature that has that ability to reach inside someone's body and cause tremendous pain. But when you find the body, there is no evidence of any kind of trauma whatsoever. Once again, just like Henry McCabe, perfect example. You hear him moaning and groaning in pain, like he's in some severe abdominal pain or just pain alone. But then when they found the body, there was no sign of him being in pain at all, or what could have caused him to be in pain. That right there makes it all the more weird. So, like I said, the unknown, folklore, science fiction, whatever the case may be, that will be the facts in all these cases sooner or later. I don't know when. I'm not an expert. I don't know when, but I do know that's what it's going to come down to. But people just have to get away from what they either do believe or don't believe, because it's right in front of your face, people. It is. That's, like I said, it's just my personal opinion. That's what I'm here to do. Voice my opinion about these cases. I have my theories. He has his facts. But the facts make you think that way, because it's weird enough for you to say maybe it was a UFO, or maybe it was chupacabra, or some invisible creature that can take people without leaving any evidence whatsoever. No human has ever been able to do that except for maybe Jack the Ripper. He did his thing for a long time and no one ever knew he did it until he was dead and gone. And I mean hundreds of years later, they found out it turned out to be a doctor who used a scalpel to kill his victims. Women, prostitutes. So, yeah, he was found out years and years later, but still, he was found out. These are cases where none of the cases have ever been solved. We're talking about 30, 40 years down the road. You know, cases that started back in 1933, where some guy goes into the forest, for a little camping trip. He's going to be taking some pictures of the lake, and he just vanished without a trace. He's never been found. This is back in 1933, people, or 1931. So, I'm just saying. But anyway, that's my time on this case. I will have more, so keep your ears and your eyes peeled to my channel. I will return with more cases to read to the ones who want to hear what I have to say about missing 411, a sobering coincidence. Always imparting aloha, mahalo, and ahuiho. Peace out, guys.